What was once seen as a bold and progressive casting choice slowly unraveled into one of the most polarizing decisions HBO had made in years.
And just like boxing, weapons training, general combat. So it's pretty full on.
Bella Ramsey, celebrated for her breakout role in Game of Thrones, was cast as Ellie, a character beloved by millions of gamers and show fans alike.
Obsessed with looking like Game Ellie, because she's got like really cool defined muscles and stuff.
But as The Last of Us Season 2 debuted, viewers quickly noticed something felt off.
Because Ellie still looks and acts like a 14-year-old from Season 1, even though she's supposed to be 19.
The show picks up 5 years after the events of Season 1, with Ellie now aged 19. However, Bella still looked and acted very much like the 14-year-old version from Season 1. The age jump didn't land visually or emotionally, and fans were vocal about the dissonance. Memes flooded social media, mocking Ellie's unchanged face and childlike behavior.
I'm sorry. That was acting.
Jokes about her head size, awkward line deliveries, and lack of physical transformation dominated comment sections, igniting a storm of ridicule.
Joel, I think I found something.
Whoa!
What?
No, nothing. It's just your forehead seems bigger than last season.
What should have been a triumphant continuation became a spectacle, one centered on the actress herself. Instead of fully immersing into the show's gritty, time-jumping narrative, audiences were distracted.
I had no idea like what that actually was and what it was going to be like, so I really overacted with the change stuff. I was like, ah.
The disconnection between the in-world timeline and Bella's unchanged appearance became a running joke. The show asked viewers to suspend their disbelief, but fans refused. It was the first crack in the armor, and it only got worse from there. Even those willing to overlook the visual discrepancies couldn't ignore what had happened to Ellie's personality. Once portrayed as clever, layered, and emotionally sharp,
Not supposed to be here!
Learning lines isn't something that I find too difficult.
Ellie in Season 2 came off confused, insecure, and at times downright immature. She even refers to herself as stupid in a now infamous scene, leaving longtime fans bewildered.
That's what that was. I don't really care what happens with this movie. I really hope her career is pretty much over. I'd be thrilled to see that. I can't imagine. I mean, Christian,
What happened to the gritty, emotionally hardened survivor from the game and the earlier season? Why was this version of Ellie written with less fire, less nuance, and less depth? Critics and fans alike labeled it as character betrayal. Many blamed the writers for watering down Ellie to fit awkward emotional beats or attempting to reimagine her without understanding what made her iconic in the first place.
Been playing much?
Enough, yeah.
Rather than showcasing a matured, emotionally evolved version of Ellie, Season 2 seemed to regress her development entirely, turning her into a weaker, flatter echo of the original. And with Bella front and center, she bore the brunt of that backlash. The Last of Us Part 2 was always going to be controversial. The moment the game killed off Joel in its early chapters, it fractured its fanbase. The HBO adaptation followed suit.
Like most people, I liked the first season. I thought they did a great job. Season 2, I was skeptical on them not recasting Ellie.
And the result was explosive. The backlash wasn't just about storytelling choices, it was about the emotional contract that fans felt had been broken. Killing Joel early, introducing new characters that felt unearned, and radically changing the show's tone made audiences feel like they were watching a different show entirely. Instead of gritty survival horror with emotional grounding, viewers felt force-fed a bleak, unfocused drama. Some fans called it brave storytelling. Others, especially loyalists to the game, called it betrayal. Bella Ramsey became the symbolic scapegoat for these creative risks. Though she didn't write the script or kill Joel, she was the face plastered across every trailer, poster, and red carpet. As rage intensified, so did online attacks. Hashtags like #NotMyEllie and #RecastEllie began to trend. Reddit threads and YouTube breakdowns dissected her performance with surgical precision, highlighting every line read, every twitch, every expression. The show was no longer being judged as a whole. It was being judged through the lens of Bella's casting. While the public was busy arguing over the final product, insiders began leaking details that painted a very different picture behind the scenes. What seemed like a united creative front was, in reality, a production plagued by tension. Much of it reportedly centered on Bella Ramsey herself. Multiple sources from the production crew came forward, revealing that Bella had become difficult to manage during filming. She allegedly pushed back against major story beats, disagreed with script directions, and even refused to reshoot scenes unless her input was taken seriously. Some described her as passionate, others called her uncooperative. One anonymous crew member went as far as to call her impossible to direct during heavy emotional scenes. Neil Druckmann, the franchise's creator who had once passionately defended Bella's casting, was reportedly growing weary of the constant resistance. Her improvisation on set, once seen as charming, began to frustrate directors. Producers were torn between protecting their lead and maintaining control over a spiraling production. What should have been a cohesive, collaborative team became a power struggle, one that played out in whispers, rewrites, and late-night production meetings. Despite the rocky internal dynamics, HBO initially managed to keep things polished on the surface. Season 2 debuted with solid numbers, thanks to built-up hype and lingering goodwill from the first season. But as episodes aired and backlash intensified, the numbers told a different story. Viewership dropped fast, social media sentiment tanked, reviews became scathing, YouTube reactions were brutal. In a desperate attempt to salvage the show's image, HBO launched a full-blown PR campaign centered around Bella. She appeared on late-night shows, gave emotional interviews, and was pushed onto award show red carpets with sound bites prepared to counter the hate. But it only poured gasoline on the fire. Instead of winning fans over, the campaign was seen as tone-deaf. Rather than addressing the show's real flaws, it doubled down on Bella as the franchise's emotional center, a strategy fans outright rejected. Ironically, the more HBO tried to humanize Bella, the more the internet rejected her. Even Pedro Pascal, who had once been a strong ally, reportedly began distancing himself from the press circuit and quietly pulled back from Season 2's public narrative. One insider claimed he was done babysitting a PR mess. The cracks weren't just on screen, they were splintering the very core of the show's creative team. While fans speculated on a possible redemption arc in The Last of Us Part 3, the truth was far grimmer behind closed doors. HBO was stalling, script pitches weren't getting greenlit, budgets were frozen, rewrites kept hitting dead ends. Neil Druckmann, once the series' most vocal visionary, reportedly walked away from the Bella-led version of Ellie entirely. In early 2025, HBO executives and creative heads held a private meeting. The outcome was devastating for the franchise's future, and for Bella. Two decisions were made. 1. Cancel The Last of Us. Part 3. 2. Quietly remove Bella Ramsey from all future plans. No public statement. No goodbye tweet, no announcement, just quiet erasure. Her name was scrubbed from pitch decks, marketing plans, and internal casting sheets. One HBO insider allegedly said, "She wasn't just recast, she was erased." Even Neil Druckmann, who once publicly praised Bella, is said to have pushed for the move, with backing from the HBO CEO. They didn't want drama, they didn't want headlines, they just wanted her gone, clean, quiet, and fast. And that's exactly what they did. Here is an in-depth, dramatic write-up for points 7 and 8, based on the YouTube video titled Bella Ramsey Finally Fired by Neil Druckmann and HBO CEO After The Last of Us 3 Cancelled, by Amber Talks. After the quiet firing, the first signs of Bella's exit weren't announced by HBO, they were noticed by fans. It started subtly. She stopped posting about The Last of Us. Promotional content disappeared from her pages. Press interviews and late-night appearances were quietly canceled without explanation. Comment sections were turned off. TikToks vanished. Something had shifted, and the internet noticed immediately. Bella's social media presence took a cryptic turn. Vague posts about betrayal, closure, and new beginnings started to appear, leaving followers confused and concerned. Then came the mass unfollows. She distanced herself from several co-stars, unfollowed HBO-affiliated pages, and deleted behind-the-scenes photos that once celebrated her time as Ellie. The silence spoke volumes. Fans began asking, "Where's Bella?" Online forums, Reddit threads, and Twitter timelines lit up with speculation. Some believed she was taking time off for mental health reasons. Others guessed she had been fired but was under NDA. Media outlets picked up on the buzz, with headlines asking what happened to Bella and why she was suddenly MIA. Rumors intensified when PR insiders leaked that a firm had been hired to manage the fallout. According to one insider, HBO may have even offered Bella a quiet payout in exchange for her silence, to keep the firing out of the press and avoid further brand damage. But even without a public statement, the story was writing itself, and fans were filling in the blanks faster than HBO could spin them. As Bella withdrew from the spotlight, the internet did the exact opposite. Content creators pounced. YouTubers released exposés with millions of views. Titles like "The Real Reason Bella Ramsey Got Dropped" and "Why HBO's Ellie Never Worked" flooded trending tabs. Podcasts that once praised her performance now dissected her attitude, on-set behavior, and even her qualifications for the role. What began as disappointment turned into a full-blown campaign to erase Bella from the franchise's legacy. Fan groups rallied. Reddit communities launched comparison threads. Discord servers debated potential replacements. The name Kaitlyn Dever, who was originally a frontrunner for the role of Ellie, began trending again. Suddenly, side-by-side comparison videos popped up. Kaitlyn versus Bella. Voice edits, deepfakes, fan-made posters. The movement wasn't just nostalgic, it was strategic. Hashtags like #FireBella, #Recast Ellie, and #Kaitlyn for Ellie began to dominate Twitter. Fan campaigns gathered tens of thousands of signatures demanding a reboot, without Bella. The sentiment was clear. They didn't just want Bella replaced, they wanted her erased from the franchise's memory. Even gaming insiders, who had once defended Bella's bravery for taking on such a beloved role, began to flip. Industry whispers mentioned that Bella had skipped rehearsals or demanded solo script readings to rewrite lines herself. Leaked call sheets seemed to support those rumors. The tide was turning fast, and this time even her former defenders weren't standing by her. HBO noticed. So did Hollywood. Bella's name reportedly started being removed from casting shortlists across major studios. One executive bluntly told a blog, "She became a risk, not because of the drama, but because she couldn't carry the weight." The girl who was once celebrated for redefining Ellie had become a cautionary tale, and the industry was already moving on, fast. As the controversy around The Last of Us swelled, Hollywood's response was swift and brutal. Studios didn't issue public statements, casting directors didn't send official memos, but the behind-the-scenes shift was unmistakable. Bella Ramsey was quietly blacklisted. Insiders from multiple talent agencies confirmed what fans had begun to suspect. Bella's name was being removed from top casting lists. Roles she might have been considered for just a year prior were now deemed too risky. One industry executive summed it up in 5 chilling words: too much noise, too much baggage. In Hollywood, that phrase is code for "your brand is a liability." Even Neil Druckmann, once her biggest champion, had gone radio silent. No more tweets celebrating her work, no shoutouts, no behind-the-scenes camaraderie, just distance. In an industry built on relationships and visibility, Bella's sudden erasure felt deliberate, surgical. Her team, desperate to reverse course, reportedly pitched her for projects on major streaming platforms. One top-tier platform responded politely, but declined. The message was clear. There's no space for her right now. Once hailed as the next big thing in prestige TV, Bella Ramsey had become Hollywood's newest cautionary tale. Not because of a lack of talent, but because she misread the tone, mishandled the weight of the role, and got caught in a storm too big to weather. And in this industry, when you become the story instead of telling it, you're already gone. While Bella's chapter was coming to a quiet, devastating end, HBO and Neil Druckmann were already preparing the next phase, without her. Whispers of a Last of Us reboot began circulating within studio lots and entertainment circles. But this wasn't just a new season. It was something bigger, a full-scale cinematic reimagining. According to leaked development memos and anonymous sources, a feature-length film version of The Last of Us is in the works. This time, it will diverge entirely from Part 2's controversial storyline. No Joel's early death, no dragging redemption arc, and absolutely no Bella Ramsey. Who's leading the shortlist to replace her? Kaitlyn Dever. The same actress who fans originally campaigned for, who was in early talks to play Ellie before Bella was cast, is now back in the spotlight. But this time, she isn't just a fan favorite. She's being quietly courted to take the torch Bella dropped. Concept art has reportedly already leaked, showing a darker, older, war-scarred version of Ellie, mature, battle-hardened, and unmistakably different from the childlike portrayal fans criticized in Season 2. Insiders say Neil Druckmann is involved in the reboot, but this time with tight creative control. No actor improvisation, no storyline deviations, just a clean slate. A full reset of a franchise that once held the crown of modern storytelling. And where is Bella in all of this? Absent. No farewell statement. No exit interview, no official comment. She's been erased not just from the show, but from its legacy. The same network that once made her the face of a billion-dollar property now won't even mention her name. It's a brutal end to a meteoric rise, and a painful reminder of how quickly the entertainment industry can turn on those who fall out of favor. One moment, you're on every billboard. The next, you're a ghost. Bella Ramsey was once the brave young actress trusted with one of the most iconic characters in gaming history. But in just a matter of months, it all unraveled, publicly, privately, and permanently. She carried the weight of Ellie on her shoulders, until that weight became too much. And now, in true Hollywood fashion, the show goes on without her.